It's like that other guy that you sent me the video. I forget what his name, John something, who was attacked with a sword.
Oh yeah,
working in a homeless shelter. But people in the video, in his comments on every video, say that it's like karmic retribution for what he did when he was a teenager, right?
Talking of drama, like the thing a little while ago with was it 1975, that band? And then we spoke about it a while ago. And what was frustrating is like all that other stuff that we found out, and it came out after we'd recorded it. But it doesn't, like, when somebody's shown to be a bad actor or they've done stuff in the past, then it kind of, people start to work against everything they've ever said and done. But it's like his actions at that point with that young lass, that he got her ID and he asked for a consent and everything, that is what he should have done in the past.
Yeah, and now he's doing it right.
Yeah, yeah. And then that should be the talking point.
Yeah, you know? His growth and his development. It's like that other guy that you sent me the video. I forget what his name, John something, who was attacked with a sword.
Oh yeah,
working in a homeless shelter. But people in the video, in his comments on every video, say that it's like karmic retribution for what he did when he was a teenager, right? Who was struggling with serious mental health issues. That was in 2004. He paid his debt to society. He's helped police with cases and whatnot going forward. He has.
He's trying to make a difference.
He's trying to make a difference. Trying to make amends. Like they keep holding people onto, yes, he did a terrible fucking thing, but there was definitely growth and development since then. Like you have to give people the opportunity to grow and develop and to better themselves and to learn from previous mistakes, however horrific those mistakes have been.
And it's, I find him quite an interesting bloke as well. Like somebody wrote in the comments, like he's quite humble and he knows what, like he has a very balanced perspective over what he did in the past. And how he's very aware that no matter what he does, it's never going to erase it or make it better. But he's just aware that he's just got to live his life as it is now. And there was somebody in the comments said like, oh, I just found out, I've just watched your video, after his attack and stuff. And like, just want to say you're an absolute hero and everything. And his immediate response to that was, I'm not a hero, watch my pinned videos, which explains what he did. And and I just kind of like, I just think that's just such a grounded response that he's not getting wrapped up in, like even though he is doing all these really positive, wonderful things, he's not losing perspective on it.
And I think you can't, it's a cliche, right? But if you forget your history, you're doomed to repeat it. And that's, we see the time and time again, like even taking a look at like now in the United States, they're trying to take out, there was a question on Twitter that someone had posted, like, should American history being taught in schools exclude slavery? And it's like that, I mean, that's such a, slavery is so ingrained and wrapped up into American history, and you can't take something that happened that's significant and just sweep it under the rug, right? And then you go into Germany and they learn about the Holocaust, and they because they don't want to repeat it. So everybody in Germany knows that this was a bad time. This is the bad time for us. We did some bad shit. Where in the United States, they're kind of like, oh, but maybe if we stop talking about it, people will forget that it happened.
Yeah.
And it'll just happen all over again. Like, I was reading a book recently, or listening to an audiobook called The Fervor by Alma Katsu. And she writes historical fiction, and this one had a bit of a supernatural twist, but it takes place during World War II in the United States in a Japanese internment camp. And how there's this mysterious illness that is spreading through the camp. And the propaganda at the time is that it's the Japanese who were interned in the camp who were spreading it. It only attacks them. So like all the white people think they're fine. And it is leading to all of this Asian hate. And then the author at the end, she's like, it happened then. She's like, it happened this time. And then during COVID, it happened. Like, it's that you're just always going to fuel that fire if you don't figure out a way to acknowledge that it happened and then move forward from it and not make that mistake again.
Yeah, and I think that the hard bit to balance with it, and it's, I mean, just using the difference between Germany learning about the Holocaust and World War II and Americans learning about slavery is the way that it's taught. I mean, I will say that there are some Germans that I've spoken to over the years who have said that they almost got desensitized to it by the end because it's just drummed into them so much all the way through school. Like by the end of it, it's like, oh, fucking hell again. Like, they lose all perspective. But then in the States, there's like, I find that a lot of the people that are trying to do the education, like, I mean, I'm not talking about regular people, I'm talking about people within the institutions. They're quite bitter and resentful, and they have a political axe to grind. And they're trying to make people, like, it's, again, it comes back to the activist mindset I keep bashing on about. But it's like they have a political axe to grind, and they're trying to drum that in, and they're using slavery as a way to make their point and to try and make people feel bad and hate capitalism and hate America, when really, actually, that's not supposed to be the goal. The goal is supposed to be to develop compassion and empathy for Black people in America and what their ancestors went through and why they're in the situation they're in now. That should be the fucking goal. But they've lost sight of that, and they just want to fuck the system up that they're in. So I think there has to be a lot of oversight with how it's delivered to individuals, I think.
Well, and I think agree, and there's got to be some sort of standardization. I don't know enough about the school system in the United States to know how those things are taught or how they determine on curriculums, but there's got to be some sort of standardization of here's what you teach. Don't stray from the teaching. I'm like, get the point across however way you want to, but this is what they have to learn.
Yeah, exactly. And we've kind of gone the other way in our country, where we have a national curriculum and it's all super standardized, but the central government has so much involvement in what is taught that there's a lot of whitewashing in our history, and there's a lot of they have so many little just really nefarious agendas with what they're teaching the kids, that the kids aren't taught proper things at school in order to become an adult and to be a functional human being. They're just like, it's all about passing tests and exams. It's not about learning and critical thinking. And then we don't learn about anything that the bloody British Empire did,
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. We didn't learn anything about the Commonwealth. I mean, obviously, when I was at school in the 80s and 90s, times might be different now, but I know that because I was at a private school, so they had more autonomy about what they taught, but they still had to do a certain amount of curriculum so that we could sit the exams. But they had more sort of independence in how far they could teach things. But then my friends who were at the local state school, they had like really random stuff. Like nobody learned about the Commonwealth. Nobody learned about what we did in Australia or Canada or anywhere else. But they learned about medicine in the American West. Yeah. And at the same time, so they were learning about medicine in the American West. That was literally the module being taught, while I was learning about Hitler's rise to power.
Interesting.
Yeah. It's so fucked up. And then
it's been 30 years since I graduated school, so I have no idea. I know I learned how to count and how to read, but that is all I remember.